Okay. Hi guys. That was very unnatural, but hello. Welcome back to my channel. I have an announcement that I want to make before we continue on with this episode. These episodes are going to come out in 5 videos. I think I need to have 5 videos, and it's going to be 2 episodes per video, okay? And you guys are just gonna have to be patient with me. This might come out in 6 months, this might come out in the same month as the show came out, but I don't know. Also, this time I printed my pictures a little bit small, but I didn't print them, my sister printed them, and she was like, why did you amplify everything? And then she put all of the characters onto one page, and I was like, no, don't do that. She did. So I'm gonna have to get up close and personal to show you each of the people before I stick them up on the wall, and you guys are just gonna have to remember who's who. Okay, let's get started. Let's not waste any time. This video, episode 1 and 2. This episode, we are starting off with the introductions of each of the characters. They might not play a role in the first and the second episode, but they do need to be introduced. Well, I'm not introducing every single character in the show because I'm going to give you a disclaimer. There were a lot of scenes of certain people that I just did not watch, okay? So, let's introduce the moving pieces and the main characters of the story, okay? Okay, so first we have our 2 main leads. This right here is Muhi, and this here is Hojin, okay? Muhi, at this point in the story, is an aspiring actress. She has worked in minor roles and she is not famous. Hojin is a translator. He speaks like, I don't know, maybe 23 different languages. That might be a lie. He speaks multiple languages, and yeah, he speaks multiple languages. Our next moving pieces, this is Hiro, and this is Jisun. I don't remember. Okay, Hiro is a Japanese actor, and Jisun is a producer. She works in a production studio, and later on she works on the show that gets involved in this story. Anyway. Okay, these are our moving pieces. There are a whole bunch of other people, but to me they're kind of not useful to the show. Disclaimer, if you wanted to hear anything about the single lead couple, this is not the video. Thank you. I love Muhi. I love her so much. She is me and everything I want to be. She's a little bit crazy, so am I, and a little bit awkward, and I am too. Hojin, I would like to say he's strict, and you'll hear me say that very often, but I love him to bits, and that smile. I don't even know this actor's name, I just know he's from Hometown Cha Cha Cha, and in Hometown Cha 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 I said, oh, I fell for him. I don't really want to talk about these two. So, let's jump into episode 1. Okay, episode 1. Episode 1 actually started off in a way that confused me so bad. I was actually sat there kind of like, am I watching the right episode? Like, I kept on flicking the screen on Netflix to be like, okay, this is episode 1, this is episode 1. Because the episode starts off with Muhi, and she is walking up this like a really upward hill, and she has an earpiece in her ear, and she's just constantly talking, and then it's Hojin in like this truck thingy, and the both of them are talking to one another or something of the sort. So I was just kind of like, what the hell is going on? This scene will become relevant later on. I will come back to talk about it later on, but it is a leading piece. It is not something that is currently happening in episode 1. It is just kind of a, hello, this is the story, you know what I mean? So then it moves to the scene in episode 1. The scene starts off with us in Tokyo, and we start off by seeing Hojin doing a translating event for this like book friend of his, who's this like old guy who's a friend of his father's, I think, but I don't really know. And then he's like walking along, and him and Muhi kind of cross paths, and guys, I swear to God, K-dramas make me literally think that like at least once in my life I've crossed my soulmate. Like, I'm walking to the shops and then I see my soulmate and we're crossing, but we don't know each other, but we're gonna meet like some, but anyway, maybe. they pass each other in this train station, and they're both going to the same place. So they get on a train together, they still don't see each other. Muhi is busy on her phone. She's kind of like trying to translate something, like she's trying to, like, I don't know, pick an aggressive, like not an aggressive but like kind of a feminine, like normal kind of sounding translating voice on her phone because she's trying to say something to somebody. And Hujin is on there, and he is with this like Italian family, and he's like talking to them in Italian just to emphasize that he's a translator that knows many languages, you know. And yeah, they get to this area, and then Hujin kind of disappears off the screen, but Muhi is like outside this ramen shop, and she's like, is this the right place? And she's looking at a picture, and you're like, what is this picture of? Anyway, maybe she just wants to have some food. So she goes in there, and Eugene is in there, and he's still talking to this Italian family, and she goes to sit down, and she pulls out her phone, and she's like, can this thing swear? Like, she's like talking to it, and you're like, why does she want this thing to swear? Whatever. So then she's like talking, and as she's talking to her phone, Hujin sits down next to her, and obviously he's Korean, so he understands that she's speaking Korean. And then she like swears into the phone, and then he kind of looks at her, and he's like, oh wait, so you understand me? You understand me then? So she's like, okay. Then a scene happens, it unfolds. This Italian's family, like little boy, he falls to the floor because he's having like an allergic reaction to something. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but as like Hojin gets up to run with the family, because obviously he speaks Italian and Japanese, guys, and Japanese, sorry, I forgot, and Japanese. And they get up, and he's like, I will carry him, I'll talk to the ambulance for you. And this kid, he's running with this kid, and this kid's just like cheesing. I'm like, boy, you're breaking the experience. Act like you're dying or something, or whatever. So he disappears. Then he comes back in. Muhi is holding his bag to be like, yeah, I looked after this for you, whatever. And he's like, thank you. And he's about to leave. And she's like, yo, I realized you speak Italian. I realized you speak Japanese. I realized you speak Korean. So hold on, I need a favor. He's like, oh, what is a favor? So she's like, I need you to translate for me. And he's like, why would I do that? And she was like, because I held your bag for you. So he's like, listen, I heard you swearing into your phone. I don't do no profanities. I don't do no insults. So if you have anything mean you're gonna say, I'm not gonna translate it. She said, okay, sure. So they go back in. This place is called, I wanna say Momo's Ramen, something of the sort. I don't remember. But she goes in and she's like, oh, you're the owner of the shop to this lady? And the lady's like, yes. So she's like, is this guy around? Then we find out this guy that she's asking for, I don't remember his name, is her ex-boyfriend. And she's like, no, he's not, he's out of town, but he'll be back soon. And she's like, how soon? And she's like, on Monday. So she's like, oh, okay. Then she was like, oh, the Japanese lady's like, oh, you think I'm his girl? No, I'm not the person you're looking for. This is the person you're looking for. So this lady, she comes out, she walks out, Muhi is watching, Hujin's watching, I'm watching, and she comes out like this with the belly. I said, okay. What? So then she's like, oh, this two-timing little okay. She's like, oh, you're pregnant? Okay, congratulations. So she's like, I'm not even gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this. So she walks out of the shop because she's like, this guy cheated on me and he got the lady pregnant. What the hell's going on? So Hujin stays in. And the lady's like, wait, she got it all wrong. Like, this baby isn't her ex's baby. This is my ex-husband's baby. But he said that he wanted to take care of me and the baby, even though this baby isn't my baby. You know what I mean? And then Odin's like, oh, okay. Then we're going to translate that to her. So he goes up. He translates it for her. And then they go back in. And she's like, okay, I want to have a conversation because obviously he's been cheating on me. So when he sits down at the table, Nina smug, and she's like, yo, my boyfriend has been two-timing me and you. He's a time manager, okay? He broke up with me and then he came to Japan. So does that mean every single time we've broken up and he's come to me? Like, girl, you actually don't know. And she's like giving a bit of an attitude, and the other girl's like looking at her because she can't understand. And Hojin's like, I ain't translating none of that. That's kind of problematic. And then the Japanese lady's like, no, I might not understand you, but I can feel your energy. So she's like, yo, listen here. If anything, that was my man before he was yours, okay? He was my man before he was yours. Because listen, he and I started dating when he was studying in Japan. Okay, and he, if anything, said that he was coerced into a relationship with this girl who has such a backstory and her emotions, and she's too much, and she just keeps on going, and she's getting meaner and meaner. And I said, listen, I get that she's pregnant, and I get I don't understand what she's saying, but hear me out. Because I can feel her energy towards me. I'm gonna say, excuse me, can I get a glass of water? And I'm gonna throw it in her face. I'm joking. Okay, I am joking. Partly, because her attitude was kind of crazy. Like, I was low-key gobsmacked, because like I felt like she was saying that to me, like, your man isn't your man though, he was my man before he was yours. And I'm like, guys, wait, but we're fighting over a man that cheated on the both of you? Excuse me? So Hojin is listening like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna say that, like, girl, that you're dead wrong. So he was like, actually, no, this is my girlfriend. She was just kind of here to be like, what's going on? And she was like, oh. And then after that, Muhi's like, wait a moment, what did she say though? What did she say? And then she's like, wait, I'm about to cry, so just hide me so that she doesn't see that she got the run up on me. Okay, then they hug or whatever, and the girls still, they're like, oh no, oh my goodness, no, I was dead, no, oh. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna leave. So she gets up, they get up, and he's done crying. And then as he's walking out, she turns around and, F you. Sorry guys, I don't swear. And she F's her off, and then they walk out. Okay. And I was like, so he's already doing all of this stuff while he doesn't know this girl? Okay. So then they walk out of the restaurant and he's like, bro, I'm actually so thankful, and you're looking so hot, you know what I mean? Do you wanna get like lunch with me? And he's like, no. I said, yo, what are you doing the whole day? He's like, that's none of your business. I don't want to have lunch with you. I said, okay, sharp. And he also said, okay, sharp. She walks off, she leaves. Then Hojin gets a call and he's like, hello. And the person on the phone is the Italian couple telling him, hey, we reserved a dinner for 2, okay? And we're not going to be able to make it. But that stuff was expensive, so do you want to have the dinner instead of us going? And he was like, who am I gonna take? And they were like, the little lady you were talking to in there. And I said, Italian couple. And then he's like, oh, I just used to know. So he goes to find her. And actually, the way he gets his phone is because Muhi was still holding onto the phone, so she ran to him and then he picked up the call and then he was told about the reservation. So he ended up telling her, like, hey, this couple was like, do we want to have this meal or whatever? And she was like, hell yeah, what? Let's go. So then they're on their way, they're talking, they're laughing, talking about her ex, and then he opens up about this girl that like he met in Japan, and they had this like kind of like, hey, if we meet up in Japan or you ever see me with this thing, that means we're like this. So they're walking, they're on their way to dinner, and then they get lost. Okay, hold on, look at this. Okay, I'm gonna hold this close. Look at each of these thingies, each of these frames. This is them on the way to dinner. They're on their way to dinner, they're kind of talking, kind of chilling, because the reservation is at like 7. And then Muhi takes a picture of like the environment, but you know, which is in the background, and she's like, hashtag grateful, hashtag he's so me, hashtag that's my man, hashtag. Okay, whatever. And the reason this becomes relevant later on, but at the moment, remember, she's not a famous actress, she's not known, she's not anything. So she only has like 9,000 followers, 9,990 followers, and maybe 99 followers, I don't know. So she was like, listen, I'm an Insta baddie, I'm an Insta babe, I love my Insta. So they're like on the way to dinner, okay, and they get lost. Obviously you can see they're both on different whatever. So she's like, yo, let's make a bet. If I get the right directions, you need to follow me on Instagram. And if you don't, then, well, you don't follow me on Instagram. So they kind of both on these like different railways. She runs across because she sees a group of like these Japanese guys and she asks them. And then she ends up getting it right. But the railroad thing is closed. And then Hojin gets a phone call, okay? He gets a phone call, and the phone call's from this guy. At the time, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I didn't know who he was. But he was like, yo, Jason is missing. I can't find her. Like, I we love find her? I don't know where she is. Do you perhaps know where she is? Because you were in Japan, we're in the same place at the same time, and I feel like you would know. So he was like, oh. So then Mookie is like, oh, so do you have this unrequited love thing with this girl? You've been in love with her for like 15 years. I say go and find her. And I was like, no guys, we were doing before sunset, we were doing before, you know, before sunrise, before we were doing the trilogy. Come on, what are you guys talking about? So she was like, you go, you know, you want to find her, go and find her, like you're gonna regret it if you don't do it. So he was like, and I was like, no, he's not gonna go though, because we can feel the vibe, right? You guys can feel the chemistry, we can feel the a train passes by, it's gone. I was like, damn. Mookie was there like, yeah, I mean, you know, I want to say it didn't hurt, but like it low-key kind of hurt. So he leaves, he goes to this observatory thing, and he's like looking for her. She leaves, and then that's the end of the episode. That's the end of the episode, and I was like, ah. And the reason I actually I knew I was gonna love the show immediately, because a song by Weinstein came in, and you know when Weinstein's in the K-drama is gonna be good. Because when he was in 2521, did I not love that K-drama down? Like, let's forget about it. But I love that K-drama down. Whenever Weinstein is in something, I think he also did the track for All of Us Are Dead, a track in there or something. I don't remember. But every time he's in a drama, I love the drama. I heard the song, I was like, okay. Then we started doing, you know, the Before Sunset, Before Sunrise kind of thing. And Before Sunset is like my favorite, like, trilogy of movies. It's my favorite. I watched all of them. I wanted to edit, but I never finished editing it because I'm so finicky. But whatever. I really love those movies so much, because I'm just like, I love people just like, you know, chatting and having things in common. Like, I've never had that before, but like, I love to watch it. I love to see people's chemistry. I can watch a whole movie of people chatting just because they're attracted to each other and they have chemistry and they have chit. You know what I mean? And that was exactly what this is. So when he left at the end of the episode, I was like, damn. Like, I get love is strong, but is it like really that strong? Like, you got this fine lady in front of you, but you're gonna leave? Okay. And he ends up leaving, so I was like, whatever. But that was episode 1. Let's move on to episode 2. I can take this out now. Okay, episode 2. Alrighty, so episode 2 opens up with us on set with Mookie. Mookie's acting in this film called Dorami, I think, and I'm going to paste up a pic of Dorami. Hold on. This is Dorami, alrighty? This is like Dorami, but like, whatever. This is Dorami. She's on the set of this film, and she is like chilling, you know what I mean? She is talking to her manager, and like, this film is kind of weird. I don't know why this director is so like thingy, but low-key, the film is like this horror film of this, like, I don't know what she's supposed to be, like a zombie or something, and she's like a killer, a serial killer or something. And I was low-key like, if this was in cinemas, I'd watch it. Like, do you guys know a movie that's kind of similar to Dorami? Because I would love to watch it. But yeah, so she is filming the last scene of this film. And basically, the stunt manager and like another team have issues with one another. So Mookie has to do the stunt of Dorami falling off a building by herself. So Mookie is like, oh my god, what am I doing? The director's like, thank you so much for your sacrifice, for doing this for us. So she gets on the thingy, she drops, okay? They get the last scene. It's like, okay, cool, awesome, shot. It's amazing. So they're pulling her back up. She's like, yes, I finished this film. I'm the lead in this festival film. So they're pulling her up. Then all of a sudden, the pulling team, I don't know what happens, but Mookie falls. And I hated that fall, because the crack, the sound of her skull cracking, guys, like she fell from like a, I don't know, 6-story building, and the sound of her skull cracking was so crisp. Like, I was sat like this, like so uncomfortably for like, I think 20 minutes. Even after the film was like, even like I just had to pause for like 2 minutes, and I was just like, okay, because it was, I can hear it now and it's making me so uncomfortable. But anyway, she falls and she's looking up at the sky, and it's New Year's, pew, 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 pew. The fireworks are going off in the sky, and she's like, oh my god, my life is so boring. You guys are gonna tell me I died for this? I died for this? Okay, So that's her. Then the scene turns. We do a reverse. Well, not a reverse, but we switch to Kujin, and he is in a taxi, and the fireworks, these same fireworks are going off, pew, 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 and he's there looking at his Instagram, and he's like, oh, follow Christian on the bed, like, what a lovely actress, what a lovely person. So why'd you leave? Why'd you leave if you're smiling like that? Anyway, he follows her and he DMs her, hey, I'm the guy from Japan, I give you your 10,000 follower, thank you very much. Then we skip like maybe 3 months, and this film's gone platinum. It's gone viral. It's all over the world. English speakers are talking about it. Italians are talking about it. French people are talking about it. All of these people. It's done crazy. And she is in a coma. She's been in a coma for 3 months. We get told she's been in a coma for 3 months. And she wakes up, opens her eyes, and she's in this luxury room. Doctor standing over her trying to check, are you okay? Are you okay? She is okay. But she's famous all of a sudden, and she's like, what? She opens her Instagram, 10 million followers. 10 million. Gives all around her. I was like, whoa, okay, this is crazy. So she then obviously has 10 million followers all of a sudden, and she's going on these interviews, and she's doing all of these, and then she's sitting in a room getting her makeup done, and all of a sudden we see her face panic, and I'm like, why is she panicking? Isn't she famous? Isn't she alright? In the mirror, she's saying Dora me. She's like, I was like, what? So she's staring at Dora me smiling back at her, and then a makeup artist comes in and she snaps back into reality, and I was like, what the hell was that? I was like, doctor, might be internal bleeding in the brain, take her back. Anyway, so on the interviews, during the interviews as well, we see that people are so curious about that Instagram post I told you about. Who is this hashtag grateful? Hashtag my man, hashtag he's him, hashtag this my dude. Who is this man? Everybody's asking, and she's like, nah bro, this is just some guy I met on a holiday, like don't worry about it, like this was just like, it was one of those things, So then Pujin is at this like restaurant with his international friends. Sorry. The reason I say it like this is because they had every person. One is speaking Italian, one is speaking Korean, one is speaking English, one is speaking Spanish, one is speaking this, one is speaking... I said, okay, we get it. He speaks 20,000 languages. Thank you. Oh my God. Like, damn it. They're trying to shove it down. Yes, he's bilingual, multilingual, polyglot, or whatever they're called. Thank you. So then his friends are at the table and they're like, yo, this guy in this celebrities post kind of looks like you. What do you think about that? And he's like, looks like me. So he asked his other friend, who does this look like? He said he kind of looks like you. So he's like, oh no. So he's like, no, I actually need to meet the celebrity lady again. The celebrity lady being me. And he does it. He actually does it because Mookie has this magazine that's coming to interview her, and the magazine interviewer does not speak Korean, so they needed a translator, and Hoojin pulled a few strings to become the translator. And I said, wait, he went out of his way to do this? That's looking kind of crazy. He wants her so bad. He does the interview for her, and she turns around. She said, she was sitting in her chair, she said, the interviewer's like, excuse me. She's like, oh, sorry. And girl is so in love. She is so in love, guys. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but the actress for me has this, she has this face, like she can't hide it, bro. She is so excited to see him. She is so happy to see him. And like later on, Fujin couldn't speak to Mooney because she's like busy on the go. So her manager's like, just get in the car and talk to her. So there's a misunderstanding going on here. He's here to talk to her about the post. She thinks he's here because he's like, I like you, girl, and I want us to get together. The chemistry. Because in her head, everything is kind of like, she missed a few months, you know what I mean? She missed a few months, so everything's still pretty fresh to her. So she's like, oh my god, he wants me so bad. So they get to the next shoot. He's watching the shoot. She's in the dressing room and she's talking about, yo, that guy in the picture, let me tell you, he was a guy I went on holiday, and he was a hottie, he was a cutie, he was like my man, like I want him to be my man, whatever. Wow. She's gushing. He's hearing over the phone and he's like, this is embarrassing, let me cover it. Okay, so they finished this. He couldn't talk to her, so he tried to leave first. But Muhi was actually like, no, my man, don't leave. So she runs out after him and they go to dinner together. So they're sitting down at dinner and he's like, so what did you want to talk about? And Eugene is like, I need you to take that post down. She said, this is what you call me here for? She said, why do you want me to take it down? He's like, well, you remember that girl that I told you that I loved, the one that's uncredited? Well, that post that you posted was posted on her birthday, and if she sees this post, then she's gonna know that I keep on going to the place that she said she wanted to like meet or something, I don't remember, but she's gonna know that I go there every single year on her birthday, so please take the post down. And she's like, think about it though, if I take the post down, people are gonna get more curious about you, and they're gonna try and find out who you are, and then it's gonna get really annoying for you. So he's like, you're right. So she is like, okay, I'll think about it. They have their dinner, they're leaving. At some point, Hoojin looked at her and she was wearing like this, like she wasn't really dressed warm, so he gave her his scarf. And then like she's waiting for her manager, and Hoojin goes like this. I'm pretty sure to the rest of you, if I do like this, it doesn't look like I'm asking you to go like this or like this or like this. I'm asking you to give back something or give me something. But Miss Muhi over here, because she is so gone in love, even though he wasn't here to profess his love to her, she's like, oh. And he's like, excuse me, on my scalp. So then, yeah, that was an embarrassing moment, and that was actually kind of funny. So the evening with them instead. So he's like, oh yeah, I will contact you through your manager. And she's like, you know my manager? And she actually found out that he visited her in the hospital through her manager, because she was like, how'd you get his number? But he was like, don't worry about it. But anyway, then the next scene is her, I don't know what exactly she's doing, but then her manager's like, hey, he told me he wants the post taken down. And she's like, but no, if he wants the post taken down, then the only link between the two of us is done, and then I can never see this man again. So she is like, she takes the post down, obviously, because he asked for it, and that's the right thing to do. And she is in her car on the way back. Her manager sat in the front seat, and her and her manager were talking about this earlier, because her manager knows, like, she is into this guy. So her manager was like, okay, it's unlikely that he follows you, but I think that I can find his Insta, and then I will follow him, and then I'll look through his following and look for the girl. So she's like looking at the post, she's looking at the post. I think she ends up calling him to be like, yo, I took the post down. And as she is on the phone, her manager from the front seat with his bloody headphones on goes, yo, Muhi, I found the girl that he's interested in. And she goes, she didn't cut the phone, she didn't say bye. She just sat there and she said, did you hear that? And he said, yeah. And I was genuinely frozen. I had to pause because I was like, that is so embarrassing. So then it leads to him ending up saying, bruh, since you're so curious, because you don't want to remain strangers, just come to my house and I will settle your curiosity. So they get there. She's like, this is kind of embarrassing. I am sorry for what I did. Like, I didn't mean it. He's like, okay. She's cold, she's sniffling. So he's like, come inside. Let's fix this. Ask all the questions you want to ask and we'll fix this. So they sit down. The first question, did you meet her? He says, no, I didn't end up meeting her. I don't know what happened. I think she was found, or maybe he left or whatever, but he didn't meet her that night. So then she's like, okay, next question. If you did see her, if you did see her, would you have said the way that you felt? And he said, hell yeah. To be completely honest with you, hell yeah, I would have held it like so. I would have that bent, knees over, told her everything. I would have folded because I was ready to go and tell her my feelings. So he's like, okay. So she said, if, and this is only if, this is hypothetical, this is if, but if you hadn't had left that day and you had dinner with me instead, do you think the situation between you and I could be different? Like, do you think that you would be in love with me as much as I'd be, well, she didn't say that part, as much as I am in love with you? And he said, no. I said, you're strict. With a beauty like this in front of your face, you don't want, you, really? Even after those conversations, I was like, what? I would have folded. If I stayed with him for the, but he said that, she said, okay, shop. So she gets up to like blow her nose, whatever, and she's about to leave. But she's like, listen, but what if you fall for me? And he said, listen, he said, listen with your ears wide open, listen carefully. I will never, ever, look at the way my mouth, ever admit to liking you. I will never ask you out. I'll never date you. I'll never, ever do anything of the sort. You don't have to worry about that. You're safe. And she said, okay, sure. So then she leaves and she's like, oh, if I close my eyes right now, just like I closed my eyes when I fell off that building and I was famous, when I close my eyes now, I'll be in a different situation. She closes her eyes, she opens her eyes. Then she's on a red carpet for her festival. And she walks the red carpet, Then, at the top of the stairs, before she's even finished her walk, this ghost is right there, sitting right there, waiting for her, like, yay. And she was like, oh, that's kind of scary. So then she comes down the stairs like this, you know, with her scary self, and then she pushes Muhi, and she falls off. Like, I was like, what? So she pushes her into like this abyss or something, and he's like, oh, and then Hiro, who's a Japanese actor, walks in and catches her, and he's like, are you alright, baby girl? Okay, he didn't say none of that, but he was like, are you good? Are you, like, he was like, get up. And then they got up and they walked up the stairs together. Then this red carpet event ends. Eugene, for some reason, is also in Japan for some odd reason, and he's walking to his hotel room after doing his translator job, and Yuhi is sat outside his room crying, and I was like, wait, but how did she know what she, okay, but anyway, so she's like, yo, Eugene, like, I think my friend's about to die, like, my kindness, like, I should think I'm gonna go crazy, like, and she's crying. She's just crying, and he's like, yo, okay. And then that's where episode 2 ends. I think I've expressed my thoughts about episode 2 as the episode has gone on. I think Hoojin is a little too strict because he's stuck in a bubble. He's been put in that box that Gojo was put in. He can't move, he can't get out. He's feeling like that, he's trapped. Because this baddie comes to you and you're like, no. By the way, yeah, but you're like, no. I was kind of shocked. I was like, damn, I would have given up right there. I've been like, you know, after he said, yeah, I would have told my feelings, I said, nope, I'm done. Goodbye. Like, that would have been me for real, like, no joke. But Ruhi's stronger than me. She's unrelenting and she is toxically positive. Okay, so that is the end of episode 2. That is actually the end of episode 2, and that is the end of this video. Tell me what you think in the comments if anybody does watch this video, and thank you very much for watching.